And that brings us into the live show on the end of a weekend. Yay! I don't always have yay. I have to go to work tomorrow, which means, in practical terms, I have to go from sitting here to sitting just back there. Working from home, for a year now. It's pretty wild. But this is the world we live in now, and I'm okay with that. So, refreshing beverage. And, oh, wow. That had the opposite effect it was meant to. I was meant to clear my throat and I almost choked on it. That's okay. We shall survive. In some 150 years since the Communist Manifesto was published. Not exactly that, it's less than that, but, or more. I did look at the date earlier and now I've somewhat forgotten it because I'm not actually that big on it. I've never actually read the Communist Manifesto. I'm not so much a one for theory and things like that. I just realised my microphone's over there. I usually have it over here. So I think I'll bring it over here. Possibly slightly better now. Although, if anyone's watching this back later and you had headphones on, I may have suddenly got louder, which, apologies if that was a bit much, but I'm sure you can adjust and I'll leave the microphone where it is now. So we will keep it going. I think it dropped out for a second there. Okay, maybe. Well, we shall see what happens. You know what I haven't done in ages is share this on Twitter. I'll just say, what will I say? Join me, or I'm going to say it's going to be chill. Live stream. And clumsy fingers. Spelled a couple of words. Past. Twot. There we go. We've twoted. Okay, so that's done. That's done. Now we can just get into it. And hopefully people are getting the little notification saying I'm live and a couple of people might join. And we'll have a Sunday evening hangout. It can be a delay sometimes of even 10 minutes before people seriously start joining the stream. So if you're watching this back later, most of this rambling has been just for you. Speaking of joining the stream, Justin, hello. How are you this evening? Just looking at what my hair's doing. It's not that bad. I washed my hair yesterday and didn't put any product in it. So it does whatever the hell it wants at the moment. It's staying okay. I'm okay with that. Hello. I'm known as Angry Aussie and I'm very vain. Worry about how I look on camera as I present myself to the world. And that's hopefully a thing. But what's the weekend been? What's been happening? What's happening in the world at large? Oh, yes. Vaccinations have started in Australia. Scott Morrison is blaming other people for how badly he handled Liberal Party staffer being raped by another Liberal Party staffer. Government and Facebook still fighting. Ooh, a story about distillers on King Island. That's bound to be fun. What's news saying? 4 words that could undo Scott Morrison. Well, it's news.com.au, so it's garbage, but they've got me. So, they think they're clever by referencing Bill Clinton's in-house slogan for his 1992 presidential election. It's the economy, stupid. Because the economy had gone to the Gipper and Bush won. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that was a big non-story. Who knew? Murdoch Outlet would do a non-story? Good evening, also Raiders and Fox of Fate. Yes, Justin, I did see Scummo get the vaccine, and then he sat with that old lady and nearly broke her fingers. Seriously, he hurt her when they were supposed to be doing V for vaccine, and as a joke, she did that. And he's going, "Oh no, put her hands down!" And he really did, like, he actually hurt her because he's a fucking sociopath. Oh yeah, and who saw the photos or video of that plane in the US where its engine fucking exploded and they landed safely? They did an emergency landing and landed safely, which is amazing. Excellent work, all involved. But also, the engine fucking exploded and bits flew off it, and the big round bit off the front of the engine housing landed in someone's front yard, like missed their house by yay much. So huge fucking heavy bit of thing falling out of the sky, didn't destroy the house, didn't destroy a car, didn't kill people, just boom, landed in the yard. I mean, whoa. That if you haven't seen the photos and video of that, I recommend you look it up because it's absolutely wild. Oh shit, here's a fun story. These isolated Sydney homes are under massive boulders that could fall at any moment, and authorities don't know what to do. Couple's home in a remote suburb, it's been under an evacuation order for 6 months when several boulders tumbled off a nearby escarpment into their garden. Shit. Yes. They're only allowed to enter their home for 10 minutes a week. Great Mackerel Beach. They woke up, I've never heard of that, but they woke to what they thought was thunder, then a crack and a thud. They peered outside and saw a massive boulder had landed 4 meters from where they were sleeping. 2 doors down, their neighbor's place was smashed by the rock slide. They weren't there at the time. Pretty much trashed the house. The people, I assume it was a holiday home. They weren't there. Damn. Another nearby home was largely destroyed, and it's left an enormous scar on the cliffs that soar over Mackerel, suburb which between Pittwater and Ku-ring-gai Chase National Park, only accessible by boat. 4 months after the incident, authorities remain unsure what to do. God damn. Wow, that would be pretty intense. Risk assessment by an engineering firm Found massive rocks on the slope were frequently overhanging. Several detached blocks with maximum dimensions of up to 5 minutes perched near the crest of the escarpment. Assessment rated the risk of fatalities from a similar event in the future as unacceptable at 3 properties, including the Kemps and the Haddocks. The only solution proposed, a protective fence, would be challenging and expensive to construct and onerous to maintain. God damn. God, you're living in your little beachside paradise, and it's all nature says, no, fuck you, actually. Fuck you. You can't sell that house. You can't do anything. God damn. Hey, Invisible Chicken. So Justin Scummer must have seen how meme-worthy that jester would have been. Oh yeah, he's a fucking insecure idiot. He's a piece of shit. He is a piece of shit, and he's going to win the next federal election, probably easily. Yeah, that's weird. Anything happening in the world? Yes, the plane again. Wow, protesters in Myanmar are accusing Beijing of orchestrating the military takeover. I hadn't heard that before. And we've had stupid anti-vaccine protesters in Melbourne. Not even stupid shithead anti-lockdown COVID is a hoax thing. People literally anti-vaxxers, and it's just like scum of the fucking earth, honestly. These fuckwits actually cost people's lives. I know, looks like another outlet stealing staff wages. Gee, that's unheard of. Hello, Abigail. How are you this evening? So I know this place, the Red Spice Road. At least I think I've actually eaten there. Closed during COVID and said they're opening as a restructured company, hiring new staff. But old staff are owed thousands of dollars in wages. More than $100,000 owed. They also owe money to the tax office and suppliers. It's bad that they owe money to suppliers. I don't really give a shit. Well, actually, yeah, it's probably rich pricks dodging tax. So maybe I care that they owe money to the tax. I most care that they owe staff $100,000 in wages. Then I care about suppliers who haven't been paid as well. It's a little bit more difficult to be sympathetic to the tax department. But if I found out the people running it were rich pricks who've suffered nothing in a dodging tax, then I'd kind of be on the tax department side. Mest Laclaire? Yeah, that's pretty much it, Justin. The company goes to get away from old debts. The actual company that owns the business changes. It's it's ridiculous. So is there anything else interesting? Seeing on Mars has blue sunsets, mind-melting G-forces, and you'd have to live underground. Okay. Oh, that's right. Nintendo had their big announcement thing, didn't they? I think they didn't do Breath of the Wild 2, which a lot of people were hoping they were going to say. So many new games. So they're doing a remastered Zelda Skyward Sword for the Switch. Don't think I ever played Skyward Sword. I think that was like on the Wii, wasn't it? I think I had that. Or at least my kids had that. So Mario Golf, Splatoon, Miitopia, Neon White, Plants vs. Zombies. Interested in how a Plants vs. Zombies game would go on the Switch. Knockout City, Arcade Stadium, Samurai Warriors 5. See, there's a Star Wars game, Hunters. Competitive free-play arena-based hunting game. Intriguing. Is apparently almost like no detail whatsoever. All right. Nothing, honestly, literally nothing that excites me in there. I'm not that big a Nintendo fan. Celtic King, hello. Justin, do I own any shares? I do not own any shares. I am not an investor type person. Invisible Chicken, the only thing you cared about was the new Mario items for Animal Crossing. Good. I'm glad you had something in there at least. Glad you had something to care about. I would have been really quite excited if they'd had announced Breath of the Wild 2 or a brand new Zelda game. Skyward Sword, I don't know, it's probably good. But I feel like even though, okay, yeah, cool, remastering an old game, but I assume they're not adding to it. So I just feel like it would feel inadequate after Breath of the Wild. The only I know a lot of people wish they do Wind Waker, which again I never actually played. The only ones I'd be excited about if they remastered would be OG. Well, they're not even really the OG ones, but Nintendo 64 ones. Majora's Mask and oh my god, my brain literally just stopped working. Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's really weird. I couldn't think of just Ocarina of Time in isolation. I had to say the whole thing, The Legend of Zelda, and then went, yeah, Ocarina of Time. Oh my god. Good on your brain. You're doing great work. Honestly. So I finished Ocarina of Time a couple of times. Did I actually finish? Yes, no, I have. I have finished Majora's Mask. I haven't I'm not a completist. I haven't done every tiny thing that's in Majora's Mask, but I finished Ocarina of Time a couple times. Finished Majora's Mask at least once. Yes, those I would be excited for. A completely remastered version of those, I'd be into it. Celtic King, I have not heard from AZ in a while. When was he last on? Like Tuesday last week? That was the last I heard of him. So I have no idea if he's going to appear. He can spontaneously appear and do surprise things. So who knows? Who knows if we get an AZ? It's one of life's little mysteries. Will AZ appear? What's this? I don't know if there's any juice left in this. Oh yeah, there's a little bit. Just putting some lime juice in my drink. A few drops. Why not? So, just mix it in. Probably won't taste it. My pineapple coconut juice and lemonade. Actually, I think I can taste that lime juice. There's only a really small amount. It's quite nice. I do have something to drink a bit later. Another one of my urine samples. This one's fairly clear. Not completely clear. This person could probably do with a bit more hydration, but they're better than a lot of the ones I've had. They're better hydrated than this person. This person is borderline looking like a urinary tract infection. They're just very dehydrated. This person could afford to hydrate a bit more. This is basically, this is a clarified margarita with some, just for fun, I put extra apricot liqueur in it. Because normally you put an orange liqueur in a margarita. For fun and to do something a bit different, I put apricot liqueur in this one. And I did have a cheeky little taste test of it. Because when I went to put it in the bottle, there was slightly more than would fit in the bottle. So I had to drink the little bit that was left over. And it tastes pretty good. But I do want to have a proper drink of it on ice. And see what that tastes like. Ah. And I'll say that one again. Ah. Yes. It's pretty good. I know. I'm quite looking forward to trying that. I'm even thinking, because I made up some cream of coconut the other night to make a cocktail, and that can go off. I was thinking I could make one of my favorites, a milk clarified pina colada, later in the week. That's pretty special. If I pina colada. If you like pina colada and being caught in the rain. So, see, standard recipe, according to liquor.com, 2 ounces light rum, 1.5 ounces cream of coconut, 1.5 ounces pineapple juice, 1/2 ounce lime juice, and that's it. Very simple. But because when you clarify, you can afford to use heavier rum, because you're going to take the edge off it anyway. Kirsten Hellion, hello. On the plane back to Sydney. Sad to be leaving lovely Melbourne. Hopefully you can come back and see us again sometime soon. And also your husband, of course. Invisible Chicken, your quotable asshole quote from a couple of days ago is, never accept a drink from a urologist. Look, fair call. Abigail found blackberry gin from Whitley Neal. It's amazingly good. Nice. So is that actually like that slow gin that we had? Because that stuff is kind of a bit more like a gin liqueur than an actual gin. Or is it like a full strength gin that actually has, is it distilled clear, or is it like blackberry color, I guess is what I'm asking. That would be a more direct way of asking what I'm asking. DeFord's guide. What does DeFord's guide say for pina colada? Pina colada. 2 ounces of rum, pineapple juice, and lime juice. Okay, they're saying Cuban style doesn't have cream of coconut. That's, ooh, what the fuck? That wasn't supposed to happen. Gifford's recipe has 60 mils white rum. They have put cachaça in as well. Pineapple juice, cream of coconut, lime juice. Oh, and cream. I wouldn't do that for a clarified one. I'd use the milk to get that sort of thing. Oof. That's tempting. Some cachaça in. I don't think you'd taste it in a clarified one, so I think that would actually be wasted. Now I got this in my head. I'm probably definitely going to have to do it. Because that's probably my all-time favorite clarified drink I've made, a clarified pina colada. It's distilled clear. Oh, okay. Kirsten's about to board a plane. Thank you for popping in and saying hello. Yes, that's right, Justin. You did actually join the stream from the air, which was fun. Yes. Ooh, Invisible Chicken looking up coffee liqueur cocktails for your mum today. Should be fun to make. Yes, and you don't drink coffee or alcohol. I don't drink coffee, and I bought a Mr. Black thing to try and enter this Mr. Black competition. Uh, and so I did a milk clarified espresso martini. It was very chocolatey, which I found palatable. But I promised Aidsy he can have the bottle that has all the test cocktails in it, because it might as well go to someone who would actively like it as opposed to me who just tolerates it. I'm just going, God, I hope it doesn't separate. It's been in the fridge. It should be fine. I haven't looked at it for a little while. It shouldn't separate. Now I want to look at it. Now that thought's got into my head. I want to know. It's playing on my mind. This is the history and secrets of the pina colada. So we know in sometime late 20th century, the drink took a quality dive. Book describes it as one of the worst examples of the tiki cocktail. Pineapple is the butter of the cocktail world. You can make anything smashingly delicious. Oh, this is a positive thing. Butter of the cocktail world. You can make anything smashingly delicious with it. But unfortunately, the pina colada became a symbol of shitty 70s super tacky cocktails you get in a 40-ounce cup and wander about drinking on Bourbon Street. Yeah, see, this guy talks about he made an easy-to-sip shaken version rather than doing an icy one in a blender. And that's what I do. I do a shaken one, and it's nice. But a clarified one, Ooh, and this person thinks you should put Demerara syrup in it. Yeah, maybe. Justin, you're playing new old game that you downloaded on stream today. Why not? Why not? Oh, Justin, that would be a challenge. Joining on a stream and trying to join on video. That would be a real test of technology to see if that could happen. So, yeah. That would be quite the thing. Jim Terr, what would the proletariat drink? Proletariat would have, and Jim's saying that because I noted in the title of this stream that it's the anniversary of the publication of the Communist Manifesto. In a worker's paradise, the proletariat would have the freedom to experiment with distilling grain that they had grown themselves. So the proletariat would make everything from vodkas and gins and your whiskeys and liqueurs. The proletariat would have control of the means of production and would make wonderful beverages to their heart's content, including non-alcoholic ones. But yes, I mean, that's why, vodka was popular in Russia, because you can produce it really quickly and cheaply. It's also why gin has become very popular in the distillery explosion, because you can produce gin quickly. The distilling process is quite quick, and you don't age gin. The distilling process for whiskey is A, more complicated, and B, you age it for a minimum number of years before it's classified as whiskey. If you don't age it, you just go with the base spirits. Moonshine. I've got some moonshine. I've got a couple of unaged spirits over there. Fun stuff. I don't find any of them particularly palatable to drink straight, but they make good differences, good mixes. Abigail, the difference between gin and rum. Gin is juniper based and tends to, and it's a grain alcohol. Gin is a grain alcohol. Rum is based off molasses. So it's straight up fermented sugar. Gin is distilled from grain. So there's sugar in there for the distillation. But yeah, gin is a grain based spirit and is flavored with botanicals. And rum is distilled molasses. And if it's got flavors, it tends to be more or less the natural flavors from the particular sugarcane and the aging process for that gin. Although, of course, you do get spiced rum, which is usually flavors added to cover up a substandard rum. Tend to put vanilla and spices in a spiced rum. But yeah, rum and gin come out very different because their base is very different. But mind you, a light white rum, an unaged light rum, is very light in flavor. Like the spectrum of what is rum is pretty goddamn huge. Like I've got over there everything from white rum through to 5-year aged pot still rum that's 150 proof, so over 75% alcohol. And those are worlds apart. They're both rum, but they're very unlike each other. Hey, last time I got you drunk sampling whiskeys, I think. So next time I should get you drunk sampling rums. Because I have a lot of rum, and just having a little sippy sip of each of them would be enough to get you on the road to being drunk. The flavors, the way a lot of people describe the flavors in rums, particularly the ones done in pot stills and the aged ones, they say they're funky. They bring up almost an overripe fruit flavor, and that's the molasses, that's the sugars. The rums don't usually have the actual fruit in them. A lot of people say they get hints of like overripe banana in a lot of rums. I mean, I've actually got a pineapple rum there as a plantation rum. It's a famous one they make. This infused with pineapple. I don't think it tastes that much like pineapple. I think it tastes like rum myself. But yeah, Jim, we're going to go back to glorious Yugoslavia. Ooh, sorry, I just saw that, Justin. Yes, if you could get a video happening on a flight for a stream, stick the camera out the window, point the camera out the window, watch the plane fly. That has lots of potential cool in it. Shieldsy, news blackout on Facebook. Find it's a waste of time site. Plus, Twitter's coming back for you. Wow. Yeah, I never used Facebook for news. I definitely have used Twitter for news. But on Twitch, Best Zillion, do I ever pickle things? No, I don't actually. I don't really like the flavor of pickled things. Although, there's like some cocktails you put pickled onions in, which are fine. I do that sometimes. I infuse things into spirits sometimes fruit, sometimes herbs, sometimes sugary things, and infuse them into a white spirit, vodka or gin or rum or tequila. I've done all those over the years, but I don't actually pickle things. It's not my scene, man. Shieldsy, never know if Facebook is going to stop being an ass. I don't know. I used Facebook for socializing rather than as a news source, because I actually used to find Facebook really annoying when 20 people had post the same news story link on it. I'm Twitter's, and maybe it's because of the difference of who I follow on Twitter and who I'm friends with on Facebook, but I find Twitter is a good thing for finding out what's happening and getting like, real time developments in stories. So yeah, for me, Twitter is the news thing. Facebook never was. So I don't really give a shit that there's no news links on my feed at the moment. I just want people to post nice pictures and silly memes on Facebook, and that will keep me happy. So, so long as that keeps happening, I'll be fine. I mean, just this ridiculous situation we find ourselves in. Facebook is a really shitty company who needs to get their act together, and the Australian government is totally fucked and is just doing the bidding of Rupert Murdoch, who's a piece of shit. And so it's just like, what's the line from that, the first in the Godzilla reboot movies, where they're going, "Let them fight." It's just like, they're both just so awful in different ways, but they are both awful. Celtic King, I very rarely play Pokemon Go anymore. Went through a little phase of playing it a bit, but all right. Sunbear, hello. Speaking of pickled things, you're eating kimchi. I don't like kimchi. You're eating kimchi with live cultures. Helps with your digestion. Well, that's good. That's really good if it actually helps you like that. That's excellent, in fact. So you're clearly on a winner with the kimchi and live cultures. But oh my god, I'm playing this game at the moment, and I don't play it a lot, play it regularly, but I did play it for a couple of hours today. Yakuza Like a Dragon. I played one other Yakuza game, the prequel one, Yakuza 0. And I really enjoyed them, although they're quite different. This one's more like an RPG, has turn-based combat, and the people talk for extremely long periods of time in it. So there's no actual gameplay. It's like watching a little bit of a movie. Fortunately, the voice acting is actually pretty good. The animation is a long way from cutting edge because they don't try to, but the voice acting is quite good. But they had this silly running joke with an overly hot kimchi. The sense of humor in the Yakuza games is always so silly. I really enjoy it. It's like an action game. It's all built around fighting and conquest and whatnot, but the sense of humor is just so silly, and I mean that in a good way. I really enjoy how silly it is. Matthew, you'd advocate for some type of online town square. Nice. And yes, kimchi is based on sour Korean vegetable. Yeah, pickled, as we were saying. Oh, sorry, I missed the first thing you said, Matthew. There's a problem. Most speech happening on this platform of private companies. Wonder how to solve the issue so Facebook and that don't have so much control. See, the thing is, though, Matthew, saying online public square, to do what Facebook does costs billions of dollars, and it's not something governments are going to invest in. Oh, and Best Zillion on Twitch asking what online town square means. Isn't that Twitter? Kind of, sort of. I think what Matthew is suggesting is one that's not built, owned, operated by a private company. It's an open thing that people use, and it's not actually under the sway of a commercial company. Just the trouble is that sort of thing actually costs, billions of dollars to run. So you're not going to get governments to invest that. But it's weird that Facebook has maintained this dominance for so long. It'll probably fade one day. They all do. All these tech companies fade one day. Matthew, you could be privately run with public law like a transport system. Basically, and you raise a good point that a public square, if it was controlled by government, you get all sorts of weird and not good constraints and censorship. My personal belief is there's no single perfect answer. There's always going to be tensions pulling whatever exists one way and another. And, we just have to accept that things are going to change over time. Okay, Sunbear, it's because you're half continental. Eating pickled stuff's in your DNA. Jimmy, you like eat European pickled food as well? An invisible chicken's brother enjoys kimchi. Yeah, see, pickled stuff is not really for me. And kimchi under that banner of things I don't actually like. So I know lots of people like pickled stuff. Mrs. Angry likes pickled stuff, but yeah. Just Facebook's kind of dead, not the same as it was 12 years ago. Thank fuck. I only seriously started using Facebook 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, I fucking hated the way it was all those fucking games 10 years ago. And there's just this constant, you've been invited to play Mafia Wall. It's like, fuck off. How many of these fucking apps do I have to fucking block? Yeah, and to say Facebook's kind of dead is just like your view of it, Justin, which is completely legitimate. But as a company, Facebook continues to get bigger and more profitable day by day. So they're a long way from being dead. Basilian, you make sandwich pickles, chilies and habanero. Wow, hardcore. Matthew, first actual interaction after being subscribed for 10 years. Yeah, mostly just doing live streams these days, just for fun and chill out. Yeah. Some people remember throwing sheep. Oh. And the farming games, yes, Abigail. I still play on my phone The Simpsons Tapped Out, which is basically a Simpsons version of Farmville. It's just the repetitive tasks, and you get credits in various forms to build new things. So and I don't even know how long I've been playing it, for a really long time. So I've got a reasonably big Springfield at the moment. On the pickle front, Big Bad Ads likes pickled pork. Yeah, not so much me. I like barbecue pork. Pickled pork, again, pickling is just not really my thing. I've never really gotten flavor. It's interesting. We had these chips the other day. Actually, I think there's still some in the cupboard. Pringles, one of their limited edition flavors, it's called cheeseburger flavor, and the picture of the cheeseburger on the thing has a clearly visible pickle. And weirdly, they've got a really definite pickle taste in these chips. Like, they do a good job of somewhat approximating the taste of a cheeseburger, but the pickle taste is probably a bit pronounced, which is pretty weird. Justin, you join Facebook, you get silly daily updates from friends, what they're doing or thinking. Yeah, maybe your friends have got boring. I don't know, Justin. I do get lots of updates from my friends. Especially some old school YouTubers, keeping track of them. All right, I'm going to try my clarified margarita now. Have a proper drink of that. Can't even be bothered putting it in a different glass. This has got ice in it. Oh, a little bit more. That'll do. Save that for another day. What's that smell? It's probably tequila. And there's a tiny bit of smoky because I did just put a bit of mezcal in there because I thought that might be interesting, kick the flavor up a little bit. get a bit of additional smokiness in there. And I think I can. Yeah, no, I can get a bit of mezcal smokiness in there. Jim, the clarification changes the taste a lot. Um, uh, I mean, it changes the color, the taste, and the texture. This was much darker before the clarification. It was like a kind of orange color. Like it had reposado tequila in it, uh, and what clarification does is soften all the edges off the drink. So you still and basically the flavors become really different. It's a real adventure what clarification is going to do to a drink. Basilian, I know the YouTube channel How to Drink. I don't know Greg, but I know the channel. It's a very good channel. Oh, he's milk my mantids. Think I should do it. Wow, the smokiness is still. I'm really glad I put the mezcal in. The smoke. It was only half a shot. The smokiness is still really in here. Mm. Oh, so it's kind of like if you made a fruity glaze for a smoky barbecue, because it's fruity and also like I put apricot liqueur in it for fun, and it's definitely got this apricot taste, but it's also got this smokiness like a barbecue sauce or something. It's great. Oh, that's cool, Basilian. You don't drink it all, but enjoy his content. He does make good content for those who aren't aware of it. How to Drink on YouTube. This dude, Greg, makes really good content. He's really engaging. And yeah, he does really epic videos. And he only like uploads a video every week or two because he clearly puts a lot of work into the videos. And he's been doing it for, I don't know, 5 years or something, and he's quite good at it. He's definitely I reckon the number one YouTube cocktail channel that's purely about cocktails. There are some bigger channels that occasionally do cocktails, like Binging with Babish, but Greg's the biggest channel. Yes, and he streams as well, Basilian. He does Twitch streams. Sometimes he's gaming. Sometimes he's just chatting. He does one like D&D type stuff, which most recently they were actually doing the tabletop cyberpunk game. So he's quite a lot of fun, his streams. Again, because of the time difference, I'm usually at work when his streams are on, but sometimes I get to see them. Yes, Pestillion, seeing him in a non-drink environment is a bit weird. Also, I was pleasantly surprised to find his politics are reasonably radical left. That because his drink videos are completely apolitical, and that's well and good. And yeah, I don't know if he had been a Trump lover, I might have been disappointed to the extent of not watching him anymore. But because I follow him on Twitter and stuff, and yeah, his politics come out on Twitter, and he's reasonably radical left, particularly for an American. Yeah. Oh wow, Milk My Mantids, you're on the dead man's coffee rum on ice. See, I don't like coffee, so I wouldn't like that. But yeah, I've seen it around, and I know a lot of people are into it. A lot of people are into the coffee liqueurs and coffee spirits. Not my boat. I just don't like coffee. Don't like coffee flavor. But yeah, I've seen people getting into that one. Shieldsy, Facebook, open your local free paper page. Deleted. Yep, deleted all the posts. Yep. Oh, that is good. Wow, that is. I thought it would be good, but I'm really, like I said, I'm really glad I put that half shot of mezcal in there because it's given it real character. It's really fruity because I went to town a bit with the apricot liqueur. Normally, you'd put an orange liqueur in a margarita, which I did for the video for my YouTube channel, but for fun, I did this clarified one with a lot of apricot liqueur, and it's good. Dylan, bro, you also subscribed 10 years ago. Sit around the other day. Whatever happened to Angry Aussie Bloke? So here you are, resubscribed watching. Excellent, man. Excellent. Welcome back, as they say in the book. Yeah, and I hope people forgive me that after, I don't know, how long is it? 14 years of me doing the angry videos, I got kind of bored with it. And particularly since COVID, I've just been chilling on the live streams and keeping people company and stuff because it's just fun. I just want to have fun. Jim, try a tea liqueur. There are some tea liqueurs, and I have done tea infusions on vodka before. Oh yeah, sorry, Bazillion. I should tell you, most of my viewers are on YouTube. I use a thing called StreamYard that lets me stream simultaneously to YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. And I don't really put a lot of effort into Twitch, just because I can actually stream to Twitch with no effort. I do. But my focus is YouTube. Been on YouTube for a long time under the name Angry Aussie. So literally a couple thousand videos. I haven't counted them in a while, actually. Don't know if there's an easy way to count. Actually, does my channel tell me? Does my channel tell me how many videos I have? I'm suddenly curious. View your channel on YouTube. Videos. It does not tell me. Wonder if there's an easy way to know. Because for the last year, I've just been live streaming. I've seriously, in a year, I've probably only done 2 pre-recorded videos. The rest have all been live streams. And I used to do the pre-recorded videos at least twice a week, the theme ones, Wanga Fat Wednesday and Totally Fucked Up Friday. I don't know if there's an easy way to work out how many videos I've got on my channel. Dashboard, that's not telling me anything. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I was just looking at the thing. What, in the last 48 hours, 450 people have watched Aidsy and I doing a commentary track from a trashy Japanese film called Big Tit Zombie. Sad people were probably hoping to see Big Tit Zombies on my channel, so I don't know how long they would have run. But the commentary track was pretty fun because that was a very silly movie. Go to the search bar, type in Angry Aussie, and it'll tell you how many videos you have. 46.5 million views. Well, dude, you put enough fucking videos up and you're going to get some views. No, what am I doing? 3,036 videos. Hot damn. I missed my 3,000th video celebration. That would have been, if I'm doing about 5 live streams a week, that would have been 6 or 7 weeks ago. Oh, goddamn. So right around New Year's, I would have uploaded my 3,000th video. Fancy that. Fancy that. So, yes, I'm glad you find the streams fun, Invisible Chicken. I enjoy doing them. Yeah, Dylan, that one was fun. Because people often said, like, do you ever do the angry stuff outdoors again? People would think I was crazy. And just because people kept saying it, I decided to do it. And that Diesel Jeans billboard really pissed me off because it was basically saying being stupid is fun. And so I'm just in the street ranting about Fuck stupid people. No, fuck saying stupid is cool. Fuck that. And one guy actually stopped because he was intrigued by what I'm doing, and I explained it, and he's going, "Thumbs up, man! Fucking yeah, it's good." So yeah, that was actually fun to do. But yeah, it's because I used to go past that billboard every afternoon on my way home from work, and it was just pissing me off. It was like seriously pissing me off. And it's like, no, fuck you, Diesel Jeans. Fuck you. Fuck you for saying being stupid is cool. Because stupid people shit me. And they do not need to be goddamn encouraged. So yeah, that was my little spray at Diesel Jeans. Hello, Stella. Good evening to you. Actually just reminded me, have I done... Oh, no, wait, shit. Have I done a clarified pina colada for my cocktail channel? Because I don't think I've done pina coladas because it's like pina colada day. But did I? Because if I haven't done a video of milk clarifying a pina colada, I'll make a video of doing it. So let me see. Okay, that's all the videos. That's the word pina. Okay, so there's the white Negroni pina colada and green pina colada. Show truth and absent. Okay, so I haven't done a milk clarified pina colada for my cocktail channel. Basically, you met a chick last night that said stupid people have no value. Well, that's a bit harsh. All people have some value. I just don't think people should be encouraged to be stupid. Kilty, Toby put you onto this channel, and Toby was put on the channel by one of his other mates. Yeah, word of mouth can be pretty effective, honestly. So, oh, Jesus Christ. Sorry, best Zillion on Twitch cracking me up. This woman who said stupid people have no value says she was a psych major and she loved ethics. That's fucking weird. Dylan, off to bed, mate. All right, well, thanks for dropping in, man. Take care, and I hope you get a good night's sleep. Be heading there myself in about an hour. Oh, goddamn, that's a good one. I kind of thought it would be good because a lot of these milk clarified vids. Sorry, I just got distracted because Raider said something about average views 15K per vid. Yeah, the mean views would be way lower than that because I got a couple of videos that have millions of views. Basilian, she said common sense a ton of times claimed the earth had inherent value. Well, I don't begrudge saying the earth has inherent value, but it just sounds a bit fucking eugenics-wise to say stupid people have no value. Oh, yeah, Abigail, I think that's a fair statement. I've met stupid people that have zero social utility, but good call, Stella. All people have value. Someone has to feed Smaug. Yeah. So, yeah, I worry sometimes. I think some people are so toxic that they wouldn't even make good compost. But yes, Zillion, she believed if humans were eviscerated, the earth would still have value. Yeah, you're getting into sort of weird metaphysical discussions there. Depends what you mean by value. I'm sure an enormous number of what do you call it? Animals. Shit. I hate it when my brain stops working. An enormous number of animals. I'm sure an enormous number of animals would be happy if humans ceased to exist. Did you just look at that, Raiders? I'm in the top 5,000 YouTube channels in Australia. That actually surprises me a bit. Used to be in the top 100 back when I was giving it a red hot go in the early days. Fox of Fate, some people are like slinkies. They have a little value but are fun when you push them downstairs. Yeah. Thank you for subscribing to Tolkien Facts. Abigail, the winged dragons of Middle-earth were almost responsible for the downfall of the Valar and Morgoth victory. Don't feed the dragons. Yes, they did. Tolkien did make dragons inherently bad. Which is arguably a little bit biased against dragons. It's that weird trope that's in a lot of science fiction and fantasy, and I think it's actually more common than not that there is a nemesis who are uniformly evil, they're uniformly bad, which of course makes no sense whatsoever for an entire species to be, the same. Makes no sense at all. But it's such an accepted trope in sci-fi and fantasy that I think people don't question it enough. Like the convenience, Tolkien made dragons universally evil, made orcs universally evil. And it just really simplifies the moral question if one side is universally evil. I like how he has the other side are not universally good. The other side do questionable and even blatantly wrong things on the regular. But the other side is just universally evil. Best Zilling, you're right. I mean, Tolkien wrote so long ago, you could argue it wasn't quite as tropey when he wrote The Lord of the Rings. But people still do it now. So, yeah, the idea that an entire species is going to be evil is stupid. Have I ever watched Golden Kamuy? Kamui. I am not familiar at all with that. Not only have I not watched it, I have no idea what it is. I'm going to put it in Google. Golden Kamuy. It's an anime. Okay. I hardly watch any anime. Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Satoru Noda. Story follows Seiichi Sakamoto, veteran of the early 20th century Russo-Japanese War. His quest to find a huge fortune of gold of the Ainu people, helped by a young Ainu girl. The Ainu are an indigenous race in Japan. There you go. It's 24 volumes of the manga, and it's been adapted into an anime. People ask, is Golden Kamuy any good? More than just typical action-adventure anime like so many out there. It's fun, great, enjoyable for many reasons, to the point where it's proof that we want to be at least a second and third, if possible, season continuing the series. There was a third season. Okay, so there's 3 seasons of that anime. There you go. I'd literally never heard of it. I don't watch much anime at all. But it has bad guys who are very nuanced. Feel the worst bad guys in the show. Yeah, I mean, I kind of liked, bad guys who have a point but maybe take it too far, like Killmonger in Black Panther in the Marvel movies. It's not so much that anything he said about colonizers was wrong, but he went, and therefore it's our turn for revenge, and we're going to fucking kill everyone we don't like. It's like, taking a little bit far there, buddy. Taking it a little bit far. And even the Thanos thing, like saying like, oh, there's too many people, and the overpopulation and resource depletion. Except then he went on that maniacal God complex thing of, I'm going to get rid of half of all life, and there'll be more resources, which is inherently stupid. And you also get that sort of eco-fascist thing happening a lot. The people who go, oh, humans are the virus, the planet's got a fever to get rid of us. And it's like, shut the fuck up. We have solutions to all the economic and environmental problems we face. We have solutions. You don't have to kill people. There are really fucking straightforward things about, just pulling capitalism into check a bit. So, not a fan of eco-fascists. People who start talking about, need to kill 25% of the world's population. Always start with themselves. That's all I'm saying. That shows a real lack of commitment to start talking about humans and how much resources they use and the damage to the planet and yada, yada, yada. And yet you're not taking yourself out of the picture. That just seems to lack commitment to me. And like I said, the eco-fascist stuff is bullshit, because there are much more straightforward solutions to the various problems of the world. And we just need to do them. Because what's going to happen? Someone starts fucking enforcing eco-fascism, and they really quickly turned their gaze to the developing world, poorer nations, poorer people within richer nations. They look at them, they're just breeding too much. That's the problem. They always fucking go after the underclass first, because they're fucking pieces of shit. Yes, that's the bold stance taken on the Angry Aussie channel. Genocide is bad. I know. Some people might be confronted by that take. I might lose some subscribers for taking the stand, but damn it, I'm here to do it. Genocide is bad. There you go. I said it, and I don't resile from that. I'm going to stand behind that no matter what challenges are thrown at me. I am going to stick with genocide is bad. Shieldsy, found out you're the 32nd most viewed Directors Australia, having made spamming YouTube channel with comments. Yeah, it was fun back in the day when you could do shit like that. Fox, your interpretation of what Thanos did was randomly half of life in the universe, so some planets worse than others. I think he pretty clearly stated that he would do it planet by planet. Like on each planet, half of life on that planet was gone. I think he was pretty clear on that. Jim Tate and Orwellian Eco World would not be great. Basilian, should citizens be taught not to have ill-prepared children? Who's the judge of what that is? I mean, I think single children from some rich families do more damage than, a lot of people who have 10 kids. But again, this one you get eco. Call this up. When you say communism is bad too, I would say all totalitarianism is bad. And the way late stage capitalism works is just totalitarianism. It is domination by an elite in a gross, disgusting, unfair system, and there are laws that keep them in power and keep everyone else down. I don't really feel capitalist countries now are any less totalitarian than Stalin's Russia was. It just manifests differently. Different does not mean better. Thank you for taking notes, Alexander, because sometimes just forget. Some people, the point's too subtle for some people. That's genocide bad. Abigail, funny parts, eliminating half of Earth's population would take us back to the 1980s. Suddenly the world's a ghost town. Half of the current population would still be a lot of people, but would be almost fatally traumatizing. And I mean, they showed the people in the Avengers movies being upset at half the world being gone, but I think the trauma would be on a scale that there is no doubt whatsoever any sort of functional society would absolutely collapse irretrievably. And the death toll within a year would be around 90%. People just couldn't cope with a trauma on that scale. Oh, Basilian, I think there's a whole range of things there should be more practical education on. Child rearing is a good one. But yes, now I can get a bit conspiratorial and talk about how governments generally are made more than a little nervous by a more educated and more independent population. And this is not down to one political party, one political ideology. Pretty much anyone who thinks they've got the stuff to form a government and run a country or, run a society gets made nervous the more independent the population is. Sometimes with really good cause, because, there's a lot of people who really fucking abuse their independence, and their version of being independent is being a shit. Abigail, why do I think disappearing half the population would create trauma? To me, the answer to that is so self-evident that I don't know how to answer. The psychological trauma of loss on that scale, and the fact that you didn't know who's going to be lost, you could lose everyone who knows how to run infrastructure. Every aspect of society would collapse. It's just an instantaneous change on that scale. I think you would, with everyone so dependent on complex infrastructures, the more, I guess, sort of advanced capitalist the nation is, the more they would suffer. In that sort of context, the poorer, less developed countries would fare the best. And I think not by a small way, I think by a long way. I think all of the industrialized nations would collapse completely. I think the likelihood that you would lose too many people to maintain the infrastructure is almost certain. And I just think it would be a complete and absolute collapse of society, both in the practical terms, as in the infrastructure would not be maintained and things would break down. And I think you would devolve to a feudal system really quickly. The idea that governments could successfully continue to exist after something like that, I actually think it's farcical. I think it's ridiculous. I think in countries like America, you would probably get a military takeover, but they'd have to be really selective. They'd have to choose which cities, which states, which areas they controlled, because it would be chaotic. And I think it would at best devolve into a feudal system. Yeah, Abigail, I get what you're saying, that you think is that was the population of the 1980s, but that changed over 40 years. To lose half the people in the world in an instant would be the absolute collapse of complex industrialized societies. They just couldn't continue. And I mean, okay, and also we are arguing in complete abstractions that it is impossible to give a definitive answer to. So it's not something that I'm going to lose sleep over, but you would at best have a collapse into like medieval city states. That's your best case scenario. That you would have some sort of collapse into a series of city states and like medieval type things, and begin the long, slow process of forming alliances between all the micro states that would form. I personally have no doubt whatsoever centralized governments would fail completely. They'd be able to hold on to particular cities, and they would have to be incredibly selective of which cities they preserve, because infrastructure would just be shot to hell. It's and again, maybe this is my cynical mind of working on large IT projects and seeing how fucking dysfunctional people are when everything is functioning. But like, if you lost half of all people who knew how to run things, and I mean the people who had the practical knowledge and understanding. I know you disagree with my premise, Abigail. I disagree with your disagreement. Using things to collapse, half of the government, half the military. The psychological trauma of half people being gone would. Have you not seen how fucked up people are by COVID, when it's just, well, you have to stay home? If it was half the population was dead instantly, and and we're never coming back, as far as you know, the psychological trauma of that, I think, would take a toll. And I have almost no doubt within a year or two, the death toll would be around 90% of the previous population would be gone. It would, and there's just practical shit. Stuff would start to break down. You would get militias. I just cannot envision centralized governments surviving something like that. The loss of control of the infrastructure would just be catastrophic. They'd have, like I said, they'd have to retreat to very, very isolated areas. Like you say, you have to pick which cities you preserved, and it would shit would just go to hell. I mean, Abigail Shaw, you thrived during the pandemic. An enormous part of the population didn't. And you can keep saying you disagree with me. I heard you the first time, and we were arguing a complete abstract with no right and no wrong answers because it's not real. You can't argue that one answer's right and one answer's wrong because it's not real and you can't measure it. But we have quite differing views. And me personally, I don't think you've fully thought through what effect it would have on people psychologically if the half the population was gone in a heartbeat. And again, I also think you're overestimating the resilience of the infrastructure. I think if half the people responsible for the infrastructure vanished, we'd be fucked. Shit would collapse overnight. Jim, we're basically arguing the Infinity Wars plot, yes. Justin, if we have a zombie apocalypse, well, what we know is that if we had a zombie apocalypse, it would be accelerated by a big chunk of the population saying it was fake and they refused to stay in their home and have their lives constrained, and then they all go out and get fucking bitten. So that I feel confident in saying we know beyond any reasonable doubt if there was a zombie apocalypse, it would be accelerated by the number of fuckwits who would continue to insist it was a fraud put about by the government and they'd refuse to stay in a secure location and they'd all get bitten. So it's kind of like all the various memes I've seen about people saying, I used to be so judgy of horror movies where people did dumb shit. Now I know that's just realistic. People will always do dumb shit. Oh, God, yes, Alexander, you've hit 120k COVID deaths in the UK. The US must be up to 500 by now. Be very close to it. But look at the good old Johns Hopkins. That always gets me. Johns Hopkins. I always want to say John Hopkins, but it's Johns Hopkins, which is very weird. What's your story, Johns Hopkins? That's really weird. Ooh, fuck yeah. Tomorrow or the day after, the US will hit 500,000 deaths. They're at 497,648. So they will hit 500,000 in a day or two. And the US has 28 million cases confirmed. Hot dang. You want some water? I'll get you some water. Excuse me while I get some water. Yeah. You're welcome. In fact, I might have some water. So how many cases has the US been getting a day recently? Because it's basically been in sharp decline since Trump left office. Who knew? Oh, but they had a spike the other day. What was that? It's cases. I'm being morbid and I want deaths. I don't. 110,000 cases in a day. The peak, it was like 300,000 cases in a day. Jesus fucking Christ. Wow. Okay, that suddenly got depressing. Let's fucking go there. Yeah, Raiders. It's just coming on at like 100,000 since Biden's been president. Yes, Abigail. The big question for the zombie apocalypse, is it your traditional George Romero slow zombies or Danny Boyle and his fucking raid zombies? Fast zombies, we'd be absolutely fucked. I'm gonna have some water. Because traditionally in horror stories, monsters have a weakness. You know, vampires can't come out during the day. Werewolves only appear on a full moon. Zombies were slow. You make zombies fast and we're fucked. Abigail, you think our difference of opinion means you have more faith in people? I'm not sure that's the case, because what I'm saying is not about a lack of faith in people. I just think you're underestimating the damage to complex systems when they suffer a hit like this. Abigail, if we lose half the population, you'll rise up as leaders of your local area. Peace, safety, and institute prima nocta, of course. Yes, so it's a while since I've got depressing about COVID. But yes, that 120K in the UK and the US about to hit 500,000 cases. Woo! And yes, Invisible Chicken, the current state is absolutely 100% due to how badly Trump fucked up the handling of coronavirus pandemic. As to how long it takes things to come under control under a Biden administration, who fucking knows? There's too many variables. There's too many unknowns. But you know, vaccine rollout, although in America you've got a really fucking big problem with anti-vaxxers. But it's just, the thing I keep coming back to is what COVID has done is lay bare every fucking fault of late stage capitalism. It's shown literally everything that's wrong. And governments are not going to address the fundamental problems. They're going to do band-aid things. They're going to go, oh, well, we've got some vaccines. We're going to distribute them, and eventually things will level out, which I assume they will. But leaving all the entrenched problems in place basically means the next problem, which may be a pandemic and may be something else, will be exacerbated by exactly the same structural problems because no one wants to fucking address them. It's just, this whole insecure work. The worst aspect is the gig economy. But, what we need for a resilient society is for the focus to be on people having full-time work with a living wage. This bullshit where the workforce has been casualized and people lose protection after protection after protection, all worshipping at the altar of corporate profit, is fucking shit. What it has shown us, I mean, it's always been immoral. It's been disgusting, and various people, not just on the left, have been fighting against the immorality of it. But what COVID showed is it's economically bad. It's economically unsustainable. The system has been propped up in an incredibly artificial and unsustainable way. And COVID's been knocking those props out. And it's shown that, when you have people who don't have secure work, you take the society as a whole takes a bigger economic hit for a major incident like a pandemic. And so it is actually economically bad to have so much of the population in such a weak position. People individually and the society and economy generally needs to be resilient. And the fucking horseshit we see with late stage capitalism is not resilient. It's incredibly brittle, and there's like no fucking safety net, and it's fucked. And Heidi Ho Annette got a gin sling. Nice. I'm actually drinking water now because I'm a good boy. I'm hydrating because I actually had a really yummy clarified cocktail, basically a clarified margarita. And it was good. So I enjoyed that, but given I'm going to work tomorrow, might call Oz. No, it's already 9:30. I'm not going to have another drink. I was tempted, so I got my Bar Americano version of a bottled old fashioned in the fridge, which is really good. They call it Antica Fashionista. And I've got some orange. I could do a peel of orange and spritz that on. That's my final touch, which I love. But I'm going to be good and not do that. Ooh, and it used Okar Tropic. Nice. I think, because I'm about to run out of Okar Gold, I think I can probably make one more drink with Okar Gold and then think, oh, no, now it's too low and I'm going to run out. So if I go to the Applewood site, I'll probably absolutely fucking go to town at Applewood shop. So if I want to get more Okar Gold, I will probably also get Mando and probably the Okar Tropic as well. I like the yuzu, and I'm almost out of the yuzu, but I've got another sweet vermouth, and I don't use vermouth enough to have two sweet vermouths open. So I'll probably go a bit wild on the Okar site when I need to replace my Okar Gold, get the Mando and the Tropic as well. Maybe even one of their gins, particularly if I've almost finished the Finger Lime gin. So there'll be space for another gin. Maybe get the macadamia gin, although it's quite expensive, but it's very special. Henry says it's the best of the special ones. Maybe I'll get their macadamia gin. I don't know. I don't know. Oh, Abigail, people are wonderful. People won't cease to exist. Even in my worst case scenario, people will go on. And it would actually open the door for some wonderful opportunities for mutual self-aid and, paradise on earth type things. But I just think the infrastructure will collapse. The city-states will go... Sorry, the centralized governments won't be able to maintain control, and they'll contract into like city-states. And I think you'll get to like a medieval sort of city-state politics and slowly rebuild. And I think the humans would be very keen on rebuilding. I think there'll be a couple of years of horrible chaos, and then there'll be a degree of stability where people start reaching out to each other again, whether in a positive and cooperative way or in a negative and conquest way, because we've seen both over history. But I think that's what will happen. I think centralized governments will fail completely. Centralized infrastructure will fail completely. And you would get a rebuilding happening. And it would happen relatively quickly. Like you would get from... like I say, I honestly think you'd get this city-state thing like, medieval Europe. I think you would get from medieval Europe to something approximating the 20th century in, I don't know, 10 or 20 years. I think humans would build stuff back up that quickly. Don't know if anyone would learn from the mistakes, but I think the stuff would get rebuilt. But it would be a really traumatic thing to live through, and that would come out in all sorts of weird ways. Annette, preppers have almost everything wrong, but you are right, and you need to stick to the cities because that's where infrastructure and resources are. And your most valuable resource is going to be people. And preppers sitting in a bunker with tins of beans and guns, they got no friends and they're just going to die. You actually need active self-help and community building. And there will be all sorts of impediments to that, but I think humans would get around to it. But yeah, no, preppers are wrong about virtually everything, including their delusion that they will inherit the earth. They're fucking useless and they will die. But yes, they're very strange people, preppers. They're not really on speaking terms with reality. But it is what it is. Deep philosophical discussions tonight. I like it. But yes, about the nature and resilience or lack thereof in humans. Invisible Chicken, Dr. Stone is an interesting take on if the world got reverted to Stone Age. It's less than 100 people who aren't stone. I'm not familiar with who or what that is. Yep, I still don't know what you're talking about. Questions about who should be brought back, if everyone should be revived, etc. But I don't know that 100 people can, or if they're all in the same place, you're going to revert to hunter-gatherer pretty quickly. Oh, it's another manga anime. Okay. Yes, actually, Annette, I think you've hit the nail on the head. The majority of preppers being white, they're running away from the cities because I think that's where the black people will be rioting. Yes, very, very. Okay, it must be time for me to do my semi-regular endorsement of the Behind the Bastards podcast now, because there were some interesting explorations done by the dude who presents that. He was at like the Portland uprising and things learned from that, and things that might work and things that probably won't work, and and he definitely has some very interesting insights and historical precedents for, in disasters, people tend to help one another. Governments tend to try to become more authoritarian on their population, and people tend to want to throw off any controls of authority and just help each other. There's multiple historical examples of that from recent and current history, and there's the equivalent things of how the government sees those acts as being bad and becomes more authoritarian. There was a really fucking bizarre one from Texas this week. Like, you know, like they, with the storms, they lost power, they lost water and whatnot. Someone sent out the word, a really huge boutique food place. I don't know what it is, which I don't remember which one it was, but a place that has lots of food. They lost power, so it's all gone out. So it was all in dumpsters at the back of the shop, and it was just going to spoil. It was just going to go off, right? And it hadn't gone off, but they put it all out, and so people went, "Ooh, you know, desperate times, and there's free food at this place. So word got out, and a lot of people came to get food. And then really soon, the police surrounded the place to keep people away from fresh food in dumpsters that was just going to spoil when the people did not have food. That is the classic way that in disasters, people tend to help each other find a way like, hey, look, this stuff, this is what everyone needs. Let's get it to them. And the authorities tend to do the exact opposite and act more authoritarian and treat people who are helping others as if they are engaged in criminal, or even if they're just helping themselves, tend or trying to survive. They tend to treat them like criminals and get really authoritarian. We see that again and again when there's major disasters, floods, earthquakes, whatever. People will put themselves on the line to help other people, and people will get very creative with looking after themselves and others, and the authorities will freak out and go, it's anarchy in the streets. And they will get really authoritarian and roll out the army and the police to just beat people down. It always happens. So, and that one example from Texas was a small one, but it's a typical one. Like I say, there was a way for desperate people to be helped. This food is being thrown out. This food is going to spoil. Everyone should just take this food. Like they weren't even breaking into the market to get the food. It was thrown out. And everyone's going, we should take this food and not starve. And the cop said, no, it must be allowed to rot into garbage. You must go away because that is not the way. That's not the capitalist way that you just have stuff. And it's just like, it's so fucking stupid, but so fucking typical. It's terrifying how typical it is. It just keeps happening. And this is the world we live in. But yeah, what are you going to do? Oh, I've got a little rogue hair on my cheek that I could see. Oh, I got it too. I could see it out of the corner of my eye. It was just there. It just had gone all, instead of sitting smoothly on my face, it had gone all wavy. And it was really annoying because it was just in my peripheral vision. But fear not, I did not even need tweezers. My little fingernails got it and ripped it out of my head. So all is well. Now I no longer have a weird errant piece of hair in my peripheral vision. Oh, Annette, I saw that one. Hilarious. There's a Twitter rant about the epic LARP fail that's live action role playing for those who aren't familiar. There's someone who's had a brother who's a survivalist idiot, and he's an idiot. And him and all his survivalist mates were, off in the hills because this is what we're going to do it. But the way they'd set up their survivalist thing relied on electricity to the extent, apparently, the only can opener they had was electric. Who the fuck puts themselves in that situation? You got your survivalist thing happening and you got all your cans and your only can opener is electric. How fucking stupid do you have to be to put yourself in that position? Like, that absolutely blows my mind. There's a whole stereotype there of Americans relying on electronic gadgets and not being able to manage with anything mechanical. I don't have an electric can opener. It's such a pointless thing. It's like a good manual can opener takes, 10 seconds to open a can. Why the fuck do you need an electric can opener? So fucking stupid. But yeah, this guy who posted this Twitter rant about his idiot brother and his idiot sister-in-law and all their idiot friends failing miserably with their post-apocalypse LARPing. And he's just going, oh, the only bright side is they're all horrible people, and I bet they end up killing each other up there. It's just like, it's just such a fundamental. And it's like, again, okay, cryptocurrency is having another surge at the moment, and it's the dumbest fucking thing on the planet. I don't care that you can get rich off it. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. It's absolutely meaningless. And you get the right-wing conspiracy types who go on, and they'll always be talking about gold. Gold's the only real value. Money's imaginary. And look, okay, money is imaginary, but also 90% of the value placed on gold is imaginary. Gold ended up having a value because it's rare, it looks nice, and it has some practical applications. But it's its rarity that makes it valuable. And that's what makes cryptocurrency valuable, the perceived rarity of it. There's a fixed amount, blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah. But cryptocurrency literally does not exist. It's code. And yes, fiat currency only exists and has value so long as everyone agrees it has value, and everyone has to agree that it has the same value. It's a consensual hallucination. But cryptocurrency is so fucking dumb. But even I kind of could believe it, but I also really couldn't believe it. One of those, and they all did it. It's like, they're making their audience paranoid. People like Alex Jones and Glenn Beck making their audiences paranoid, and then shilling like, you've got to invest in gold. Money doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything is gold. I feel like there's still something in my peripheral vision here, and it's bugging me. But anyway, they like, money doesn't mean anything. The only thing that means anything is gold, which is bullshit. Anyway, but then what they were selling people was not actual gold. It was gold bonds or something. Again, it was a completely ephemeral thing that was less real than money. And they just shamelessly ripped off their audience. And it's just like, fucking hell, you people are so stupid. Anyway, Celtic King, no, I'm not a communist. Never have been. Some of my political views, have socialist leanings, a bit more inclined on the anarchist side. My biggest thing is, I guess, balancing self-determination with the collective good, which is, I guess, why I have a bit of a soft spot for anarcho-syndicalism. In practical terms, big governments of any type, whether they be monarchies or republics or dictatorships or whatever, they've always proven to be bad. They've always exploited people. Really fucked people have seized power, and preserving power for its own sake becomes more important than anyone else. And yes, Abigail, communist is not socialist. That is true. But when you put structures in place that allow people to amass power, there's this tendency for really bad people to pursue that amassed power. And once they've got it, the maintaining and expanding of that power becomes an end to itself, and any premise, any lip service to helping people generally falls by the wayside, because nothing ends up being as important as preserving power. And that's with monarchies, that's with capitalist societies, that's with the little experiments we've seen in communism and socialism. Now, I think democratic socialism has a lot of potential, but not every, but a significant majority of moves. No, actually, I'll change it back to every move in that area that looks successful since the mid 20th century has been attacked and destroyed by the United States, which is fucking vile. But that's what's happened. Miserable Chicken, in a novel, there's a group of people who don't value gold, and they had a lot. No one even bothered to pick it up from the streams. Other people who found out about the gold committed genocide. That sounds like a real thing rather than a novel. People who haven't placed value on stuff like that, who lived in areas, get murdered by people who do place value on it. So in the novel, they pretended they genocided them because there was ritualistic cannibalism, but it was to take the gold, and the literal wrath of God killed anyone who walked through the area. Yeah. It's times like that when I'm really sad gods aren't real, because a little bit of divine vengeance every now and then could be a good thing, quite honestly. Smiting. Like if I had a smite button, I'd be fucking smiting people left, right, and center. Teaching them a fucking lesson. That's will they learn, these bloody monkeys with anxiety? Hell no. Butovsky, hello, sir. How are you? Just in time to say goodnight. Well, yeah, inside of 10 minutes, I'm going to be going to bed. But thank you for dropping in and saying hi. Well, good evening. But yes, I'm thinking, is there anything interesting coming up this week? I can't think of anything I'm looking forward to this week. It's just going to be another normal week, I think. So, good old vaccines starting to roll out, at least in the richer countries, starting in Australia this week. And what else is going to happen? Tennis is over and we didn't get a really big breakout yet, which is nice. I think, is there anything else? Oh, NASA released the first color photographs of the Perseverance rover landing on Mars. Nice. How NASA survived the Reagan-era dark ages. Good Lord. Well, that's what's also going to happen to Space Force. Now Trump's gone and Space Force. Is that going to happen? Who knows? Who knows? We might get more anti-vaxxers being absolute morons. Who can tell? They seem real set on being morons. What's that the summer spritz pack? Sorry, I'm just before bed. I'm closing my tabs. And I still had the OCAR tab open, the summer spritz pack. So let's see. Tropic is 32, Mando's 35. So that's 67. So for an extra $13, I could get the summer spritz pack. What's in that? A wine? Sea foam. A pet nat. Fiano, bright tropical peach pears, sea spray like saltiness. Not a wine drinker, so it's not worth it. I think if you're into those things, it's probably really good. Yes, Abigail, us normal folk won't be getting vaccine till June, July. We'll see. I missed that invisible chicken. Was the Biden media person criticized for mocking Space Force? Absolutely should mock it. It's fucking ridiculous. We're the stonecutters when we need them, controlling who wins the Oscars, I think. Oh, yeah, in the wall. I think that was actually one of the first executive orders Biden signed. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Biden did actually do an executive order that said fuck Trump's stupid fucking wall and uh, absolutely cutting off any funding for any continuation of his stupidity. Um, I think that was one of Biden's first executive orders. Don't know if he's going to keep Space Force, but it's stupid as fuck. And considering the economic strain the US and the world's going to be under for a while, it seems like a complete waste of money. But then again, they're really good at wasting huge amounts of money. Um, Yeah, you're just giving me flashbacks to a 90s Usenet group on The Simpsons when the Stonecutters episode went to air. Someone who was a Mason saying, oh, that's not what Masons do. People always say things like that about the Masons, but, we don't control the world and do that. And I just responded, that is exactly what someone in a secret organization that was controlling the world would say. So, nice try, but I'm not falling for it. So, I mean, the other points were that group was called the Stonecutters, not the Masons. And also, that was The Simpsons, a satirical animated show. Why the fuck are you even bothering to respond? They were making a joke. They weren't making a joke saying Masons control the world. They were making a joke about the urban myths about Masons, for God's sake. But yes, saying I'm part of a secret organization that people think are running the world, but we definitely don't run the world. Well, that's exactly what someone in a secret organization that was running the world would say. They're not going to go, oh, we kept it secret for ages, but the Simpsons outed us. It's just like, no, we had a good run. We had a good run, but now the Simpsons has exposed everything we're doing. We just have to confess and move on. Because, what can you do once The Simpsons has revealed the truth about you? You can't continue. You can't continue. That's too serious. If The Simpsons outs your secret plan, then that's it. Anyway, why not finish the stream with a weird rant about The Simpsons and how my Simpsons tapped out game is now funnier than the new episodes of The Simpsons that go to air. Although I've seen one or two of the new episodes in the last 10 years. So I don't even know. I think the very occasional episode I've watched, I've got a smile or two from each episode. Not much. I mean, I honestly think the really big telltale. I don't know if there's anyone who argues The Simpsons hasn't sort of gone down the toilet. It's probably someone who argues. There's always someone who wants to argue something. But I think the biggest telltale is there are millions of Simpsons memes out there that people use to communicate all the time. And virtually all of them are from the first 10 seasons. There we go. I don't know if there are any widely used, widely understood Simpsons memes that come later than that. Certainly not from the last 10 years, but I think virtually all of them are from the first 10 seasons. And what they're up to season 30 now? They're up to season 30? It must be season Simpsons. Fuck, 32 seasons. I didn't know they had 32 22 seasons. Started in 1989. Fuck me sideways. I remember because things moved so slowly back in the early 90s, like pre-internet days. I actually saw Simpsons merch and bootleg Simpsons merch before I saw an episode of The Simpsons, because it took a couple of years for them to actually screen The Simpsons here. I did see one of the Tracy Ullman show shorts at a cinema once. It was on before a movie as well. Oh God, that's a fun note to end on, Annette. Your cat Zorro brought in a live rat for you to admire. God damn. At least my cats only bring in dead ones. They're usually like baby ones. I'm always confused, like, is that a baby rat or is that a large mouse? I think it's a baby rat. They don't do it often, but they're always dead, which is a plus. Right, well, on that fun note of Annette having to deal with a live rat, that's a bit dramatic. I'm going to go to bed. That's a dramatic note to go to bed on. I hope you all stay well. Look after yourself. I'm going to be watching some stuff on TV tomorrow night, so I won't be doing a live stream. I will probably be back on Tuesday night. We'll see what happens, you know. I don't really plan my life that far in advance. I don't really know with any specificity what I'm doing tomorrow. Actually, that's a lie. I actually know. I'm going to go to work, and I pretty much know what I'm going to be watching tomorrow night as well. So there you go. You chase them both out with a broom like a cartoon woman. Fantastic. I love it. Anyway, good night all. Take care. Hope to see you again